Okay, I'm back. I've got both my ends on and my floor in, as you can see, hopefully. And my floor is nice and flush with the opening here, because you want easy access for your coffin to be able to slide in. You don't want any big bumps there from the floor. So there's the back end where the doors are going to go. There's the front end where the window is so the driver can look in. And I already have mine taped off on the inside for painting. If you don't like painting in small spaces, now would probably be the time to paint your inside, but I don't have any problem with it. So I did go ahead and tape off the window now, because that would be easier for me to do it now. But painting, I don't mind. So our next part is to add in the ceiling and the roof. And our ceiling piece is the same as our inside bottom. It's 4 7/8 by 8 3/4, and it's going to go even with this edge here. So we're going to put it in. See how it hangs down here? There's a space. You want it even with this edge here. And we're going to be doing the paper hinges all along here and on the ends. And I'll do that, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of the... Okay, I have my ceiling on. I did the covering the hinges here on this side here and on the other side. And then under here, I did it back here, but I couldn't where the window was because there was no space. I'm sure you probably can't see in there, but there's no space in there to put a paper hinge, so I put it on the top side here on both ends. So now we got that on, we're ready to add our roof supports in the roof. And let me get to the roof supports. Okay, now you're going to need, I'll probably just have to show you these. Maybe you can see. These are the pieces that you'll need. Hopefully you can read that. And for this one, it is the center roof support ends. They're 2.5 inches long, 1 inch wide at the highest part, and then at this end it's 7/16, and you measure up, and then you draw a line from there to there, and that gives you that shape. You need 2 of those. For this piece here, it is 4 7/8 inch long, and the highest point is 1 inch. And you mark your center, and then on these ends it's 7/16. Measure up and then mark your line to the center. That's how you get that shape, and you need 3 of those. This shape here is 3 3/8 and a 1 inch by at the highest point. This end is 7/16. You measure up 7/16 and then you mark your diagonal, and that's how you get that one, and you cut 4 of those. So that's what we're going to do now, is put in our roof supports. And I've already gone ahead and added, this is the first one we cut, which is the center roof support ends. That one is the 2.5 inch by 1 inch at the highest. It's 2.5 inch. This is the 4 7/8. So you put them together like that, and they're going to be put in here like this with the paper hinges on each section that attaches. And you'll do a second one over here on this end, and then you cut a third one of, let's see, where did my piece go? Oh, there it is. You cut a third one of this long one, and it goes in the center right here. And then you cut 4 of these and these are the ones that are 3 3/8, and these will go diagonally in the corners here, just like that, and like that. And we're going to put all of these in using our paper hinges on each end wherever it connects. And I'll get that done, and then I will come back and show you how to put on the roof part. I have my supports all glued in. It's kind of dark that way, isn't it? They're all glued in and ready to go. Now we're ready for the roof part. And I'll show you my notes. Here's what we're cutting, that piece there, and this piece down here. This one here is 9 inches by 2 9/16, and you go over from the corner 2 3/4 inches and draw your diagonal on both sides, and that gives you that shape. And you'll cut 2 of those. And then for this one, it's 5 3/16 long, 2 13/16 this way, and you go over well, all you do is go to the center and mark your corners there. It's 2 9/16 over to the center, and you're going to cut 2 of those, and that's our roof parts. And this is what you're going to end up with: 2 of these and 2 of these. And you start with these 2, and you start by laying them down and joining them here in the center. This is the easy way to do it, rather than trying to fiddle with it on the roof. Fiddler on the roof. I made it funny. You join it here with your paper hinge, then you take this piece and scoot it into one side. See, you've got a gap over here? You scoot it over to one side and you tape that one in. Do the same thing back here, and then you lift it up and do the last piece. And then we attach it to this with the paper hinges all the way around. So that's what I'm going to do next. And then I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and paint the interior. You're wondering about the windows on the sides, aren't you? There is another piece that goes on the outside, so don't worry about that. We haven't forgot them. They are coming up. But I think once I get the roof on, I'm going to go ahead and paint my interior before any windows go on, because I think that'll be easier for me. So I'll be back. Let's see what we got the roof on. Here's the roof, very nice. And I put a coat of black paint on the inside. And I also put a coat, I put 2 coats, I put a coat of black paint and a coat of decoupage, but I put 2 coats of decoupage on the bottom, so maybe give it a little more protection for when the coffins are being moved in and out, you know. But now is probably the good time to put in our curtains, because we want to have easy access, you know, to glue our curtains in. And the way I figured out how I wanted my curtains to look is I took a piece of graph paper like this, you know, just plain old graph paper. I can't see through that stuff. And I measured out, excuse me, I measured out my opening here, and I drew that out on my graph paper, and I included the bars here in the design, and then I just drew on what shape of the curtains I wanted onto my graph paper, and then I cut it out, and here is what I came up with. And as you can see, there's my bars. I drew those in so I know where they were, and this is the shape I came up with, because I know it looks a little skinny, but it's also going to have fringe hanging down from this, so it'll be longer than what it looks like. But once I got that, then I went and cut it out of chipboard, which I have right here. So there's my chipboard piece, and this is what it's going to look like in there. It'll look like that with fringe hanging down. But I went around the edges with the black marker, because I'm not going to wrap my fabric. I'm going to cover this with fabric, and I'm not going to wrap my fabric around the edges because that would be too much work and it would make too much bulk. So I chose a fabric. Sorry, I'm out of breath right now. I chose a fabric that didn't fray or anything like that. This actually feels a little rubbery to me. I mean, it's not, but that's just kind of the feel it gives. It's kind of a weird, it's velvety on top, and I don't know, it's just weird. But it's got these squares, as you can see, so I have to be careful whenever I'm putting my pieces on together that I don't get them wonky, or, you know, I need to keep them uniform. They're all the same. And here's one that I started, and I've got the fabric on both sides. Move him out of the way. Get that out of the way. See, there's one that I've started, and I thought I'd show you how I did it. And let's see. We'll take our piece of cloth, and since this one has the directional, I took my scissors and carefully went along the line so it would be straight. So whenever I flip it over, and I want to do another edge here, because I want to line it up both ways, so cut this one up one straight edge. And I'll flip it over, and now I know, even though I can't see it, I know this is a straight edge and this is a straight edge. So whenever I put my glue on here, I can line those two up, and I know that they'll look straight whenever it's glued down. And I'm not going to do it on camera because my glue's been acting all stupid and going everywhere, so I don't want to make a big mess on camera. So you would put your glue on your piece, smash it down onto your cloth, make sure it's all nice and tacky and, you know, adhered. You could even let it set a couple of minutes. This kind of fabric glue sticks pretty quickly. Then you would just take your scissors and go around the edge like that, and then you take your second piece of cloth and do the same thing, and then you would just flip this piece over and adhere it to your other side and cut around it. And once we get that done, that's when we add our fringe, but I can't do that yet because my fringe is drying, because I couldn't find black fringe like I wanted, so I had to dye some, and it's taking forever to dry. I even used the heat gun on it for a while and got tired of waiting, so it's hanging up and drying. So whenever it dries, we'll get to do the fringe, and then we'll get to attach it in here. And whenever we do, I'll probably, the only place to glue it is on the ends and where the posts are, because see, this is even here. There's no lip under here to attach it to, so we're attaching to these areas here. So you have to be sure whenever you're putting it on. I'm going to line mine up like this, and then put my glue on while I've got it held up here so I know where the glue goes, and then I'll reach it in like this and put it into position, and then clamp it with some clothespins like that. And then I'll do that for all my windows, including this one. This one I have this shape here picked up for it. It actually goes that way, sorry. And then once I get that done, I get all the fringe and everything on it. I have some of those Tim Holtz metal tassels that I might add in. I don't know. I'll see how they look. But I should probably do that before I glue this in, because it would be easier than trying to reach in there attaching a tassel. So I'll probably audition that, the tassels, prior to gluing it in, see if I like them or not. But anyway, once that's done, then we can start work on the outside, because the inside will be pretty much done then. On these old hearses, they had like a metal ornate stop type thing. It's just like a scroll or a metal ornate bar or something that was put here on the sides, on each side. And I'm not real sure what it was for, but I believe it's to prevent the coffin from shifting and breaking out the glass. I think that's what it's from. I don't know if I'm going to be putting anything like that in mine or not. That may come later, but I just thought I'd mention that in case it was something you were interested in, putting in yours. But next we'll start, once I get all this done, I'll come back and we'll start on the outside.